Hello learners! Welcome to another supplementary video lesson in English for academic and professional purposes. In this video lesson, we will discuss various techniques in summarizing a variety of academic texts. At the end of the lesson, the learners shall be able to define what critical reading is, analyze the text by applying the various techniques in summarizing, and identify the various techniques in summarizing a text. For our guide questions, answer the following. What is critical reading? What is summarizing? What are the various techniques in summarizing? And when to use summarizing? First question, what is critical reading? Critical reading is an active process of discovery because when you read critically, you are not just receiving information but also making an interaction with the writer. The interaction happens when you question the writer's claims and assertions and when you comment on the writer's ideas. To read critically means to read with a purpose, with a sense of openness, with the intent to analyze in a systematic way. Second question, what is summarizing? According to Buckley in 2004, in her popular writing, Text Fit to Print, summarizing is reducing text to 1/3 or 1/4 of its original size, clearly articulating the author's meaning and retaining the main ideas. According to Diane Hacker, in 2008, in a Canadian writer's reference, explains that summarizing involves stating a work's thesis and main ideas simply, briefly, and accurately. And from dictionaries, it is defined as taking a lot of information and creating a condensed version that covers the main points and to express the most important facts or ideas about something or someone in a short and clear form. And for our next question, what are the various techniques in summarizing a variety of academic texts? First, read the work first to understand the author's intent. This is a crucial step because an incomplete reading could lead to an inaccurate summary. An inaccurate summary is plagiarism. Second, one of the summarization techniques you can do is to present information through facts, skills, and concept in visual formats. You can provide the cause and effects, charts, timelines, and Venn diagrams, templates for outlines. Use flowcharts or infographics. To avoid difficulty, you need first to know the main points and supporting details. You can exclude any illustrations, examples, or explanations. You need to analyze the text to save time in thinking what you will do. Fifth, think what information you will put in your summary. Be sure to cover the main points and arguments of the document. One of the best things to do in auto-summarizing is restating the words into different ones. You should avoid using the original words of the author instead. Use your own vocabulary, but be sure to retain the information. You will fully understand what the document is when you organize all ideas. One of the things you can do is to write down all information in a coherent and precise form. Keep in mind that a summary is a condensed version of the original paper, so avoid making it long. Ninth, You can also decide to represent information through using dimensional constructions in representing concepts, skills, or facts. And lastly, paraphrasing is one of the skills you can do in writing a summary. With it, do not use the same words with the author. With the tips mentioned, you will no longer worry whenever you need to summarize because it is your one-stop solution to having a fantastic summary that offer nice details to readers. Follow the tips and you will not make mistakes. Here is how you start writing your summary. Let's take this passage entitled Japanese Rail Tunnel. Everybody please read.
Due to an increase in traffic between the various islands which make up Japan and predictions of continuing growth in train travel, a rail tunnel was built to connect the islands of Honshu and Hokkaido. The second tunnel in Japan is today the longest tunnel in the world with a length of almost 54 kilometers. When the tunnel was opened in 1988, all existing trains went through it. However, newer Japanese bullet trains have never used the tunnel because of the cost of extending the high-speed line through it. Consequently, the train journey from Tokyo to Sapporo still takes about 10 hours. In contrast, the journey by air takes only 3.5 hours. This has combined with the fall in cost of flying has meant that more people travel by plane than train, and the tunnel is not used as much as forecasters had predicted.
Taken from the passage are these important details: increase in traffic, connect islands Honshu and Hokkaido, predictions and continuing growth, the longest rail tunnel, opened in 1988, 54 kilometer, bullet trains, never used tunnel, fall in the cost of flying, and not used as much as forecasters predicted. And from these, we draw our summary. The longest railway tunnel in the world links the island of Honshu and Hokkaido. This 54-kilometer tunnel was inaugurated in 1988 to deal with the predicted increase in rail traffic. However, the fall in the cost of flying and the fact that high-speed trains cannot use the tunnel have resulted in the tunnel being less widely used than expected. Here is another 5 easy techniques in summarizing various academic texts. Technique 1, somebody wanted but so then. Technique 2, the SAAC Method. Technique 3, the 5 W's and 1 H. Technique 4, first, then, finally. And Technique 5, give me the gist. Let's have the first technique. The first technique is somebody wanted but so then. Somebody wanted but so then is an excellent summarizing strategy for stories. Each word represents a key question related to the story's essential elements. For somebody, who is the story about? Wanted, what does the main character want? But, identify a problem that the main character encountered. So, how does the main character solve the problem? Then, tell how the story ends. For example, somebody, Little Red Riding Hood, she wanted to take cookies to her sick grandmother, but she encountered a wolf pretending to be her grandmother. So, she ran away crying for help. Then, a woodsman heard her and saved her from the wolf. Let's take all of them together to form a summary. Little Red Riding Hood wanted to take cookies to her sick grandmother, but she encountered a wolf. He got to her grandmother's house first and pretended to be the old woman. He was going to eat Little Red Riding Hood, but she realized what he was doing and ran away, crying for help. A woodsman heard the girl's cries and saved her from the wolf. Technique number 2 is the SAAC method. The SAAC method is another useful technique for summarizing any kind of text, story, article, speech, etc. SAAC is an acronym for state, assign, action, and complete. Each word in the acronym refers to a specific element that should be included in the summary. State, the name of the article, book, or story. Assign is for the name of the author. Action is for what the author is doing. For example, tells or explains. And complete the sentence or summary with the keywords and important details. This method is particularly helpful for students who are learning the format of a summary and need reminders to include the title and author's name. Here is an example of SAAC in action. State, the boy who cried wolf. Assign, Aesop, a Greek storyteller. Action, tells. Complete, what happens when a shepherd boy repeatedly lies to the villagers about seeing a wolf? Let's put them together to use for SAAC to write out a summary of the boy who cried wolf in complete sentences. This is the summary. The Boy Who Cried Wolf by Aesop, a Greek storyteller, tells what happens when a shepherd boy repeatedly lies to the villagers about seeing a wolf. After a while, they ignore his false cries. Then, when a wolf really does attack, they don't come to help him. Technique number 3 is the 5 W's with 1 H. The 5 W's with 1 H strategy relies on 6 crucial questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how. These questions make it easy to identify the main character, the important details, and the main idea. Who is the story about? What did they do? When did the action take place? Where did the story happen? Why did the main character do what he or she did? And how did the main character do what he or she did? Let's try this technique with a familiar fable such as the tortoise and the hare. Who? The tortoise. What? He raised a quick, boastful hare and won. When? When isn't specified in this story, so it's not important in this case. Where? An old country road. Why? The tortoise was tired of hearing the hare boast about his speed. How? The tortoise kept up his slow but steady pace. Then, use the answers to the 5 W's and 1 H to write a summary of incomplete sentences. This is the summary. Tortoise got tired of listening to hare boast about how fast he was, so he challenged hare to a race. Even though he was slower than hare, tortoise won by keeping up his slow and steady pace when hare stopped to take a nap. Technique 4 is first, then, finally. The first, then, finally technique helps students summarize events in chronological order. The 3 words represent the beginning, main action, and conclusion of a story respectively. First, what happened first? Include the main character and the main event or action. Then, what key details took place during the event or action? Finally, what were the results of the action or the event? Here as an example, using Goldilocks and the three bears. First, Goldilocks entered the bears' home while they were gone. Then, she ate their food, sat in their chairs, and slept in their beds. Finally, she woke up to find the bears watching her. So she jumped up and ran away. That is technique number 4. Let's have technique number 5, which is give me the gist. When someone asks for gist of a story, they want to know what the story is about. In other words, they want a summary, not retelling every detail of that story. To introduce the gist method, it's like telling a story to a friend. Next guide question we have to answer is when summarizing is useful. Summarizing is useful in many types of writing and at different points in the writing process. Summarizing is used to support an argument, provide context for a paper's thesis, write literature reviews, and annotate a bibliography. The benefit of summarizing lies in showing the big picture, which allows the reader to contextualize what you are saying. In addition to the advantages of summarizing for the reader, as a writer, you gain a better sense of where you are going with your writing, which parts need elaboration, and whether you have comprehended the information you have collected. And that is the discussion for various techniques in summarizing. You may review the video from the top to be prepared for our activity. For our weekly task, you are tasked to summarize the paragraph using any of the various techniques discussed. Again, you may review the video, watch it several times to be able to do the task. Remember that the link of this activity is in the description of this video lesson. And that ends our video lesson for this week. Please like the video. Paki-comment din ang inyong mga natutunan sa lesson na ito. Please don't forget to subscribe sa channel. Paki-hit na din ang notification bell button para mag-updated sa ating class. That's all. Thank you.